Okay, so here we are once again with another G.I. Joe classified figure unboxing, and this is the 60th anniversary Action Marine. She's a sniper. That's right, I said she. So we've got two more figures to go out of the newest batch of G.I. Joe classified figures that I have, and the last two are the last two also of the 60th anniversary series. We'd already opened the Action Sailor and the Action Soldier, and now we've got the Action Marine and the Action Pilot. Now, I guess it doesn't really matter what order I go in to open these, but I'm going to say ladies first. And the Action Marine is a lady. And I don't see numbers on this. I guess because they're not part of the Real American Hero line. I guess I didn't think to check on the other two. So I guess the only important number is 60 as far as 60th anniversary. And like the original G.I. Joe figures that came out in the 1960s, these aren't supposed to be pre-established characters with any sort of mythology around them. These are just supposed to represent the American fighting man, or in this case, the American fighting woman. But you know, when I say man in this case, I don't mean man as in I'm a man, she's a woman. I mean man as in mankind. So, pretty cool looking figure. See, she's got a ghillie suit. She's got a couple of different alternate heads and a couple of different hats for at least one of these heads. So, and a lot of accessories that look to me like they were a lot of them recycled from Low Light, which makes sense because Low Light is a sniper, and they can call him a night spotter or whatever they want to call him, but he's a sniper. Let's be honest. So I like to pair Low Light up with Sneak Peek, so Sneak Peek can be his spotter. I think that's a good duo there, and they both have gray uniforms, so that kind of makes sense. This little piece of paper with Lego mumbo jumbo I don't ever pay attention to. We have a figure stand, which, like the other figure stands with the 60th anniversary figures, every figure should come with a figure stand. No excuse for them not to anymore, especially since you guys already have molds for figure stands for G.I. Joe Classified. You might as well just put them in every figure now. I'm just saying. But unlike the ones that came with the retro card ones, you can see the color difference here. One is black and one is dark brown. So, she's got a little patch on her shoulder with like a Jolly Roger with and then the crosshairs like she's shooting at pirates. So that's kind of cool. Not a fan of pirates, I guess. I like pirates. Well, I mean, not in real life. In real life, most pirates are scumbags. But, you know, as far as, like, movie characters, you know, like Jack Sparrow and Captain Hook and, you know, Captain Crook and a lot of other captains. And she comes with the same submachine gun as Low Light. And the same rangefinder, I think it is. I think it's a rangefinder. Oh, the little cell phone looking doohickey. That's the same one. It comes with Low Light. Only they're in different colors. Hers are in olive drab, whereas Low Light's were black. And there should be also in here somewhere, unless it fell out. I hope it didn't fall out. There should be a little ammo clip for the submachine gun. I don't see it in here. Hopefully I'll run across it, because she would need to have some ammo for a submachine gun. She's got a cap with a little red ponytail on it. She's got an extra head with a boonie hat and some red hair hanging down underneath. She's got an extra set of hands. All these sets of hands look the same except for the finger color, because they all have fingerless gloves. They all have that kind of gun holding pose. We see the alternate hands have like a pale Caucasian skin tone, and the ones that are on the figure are in a deep tan, much like the figure herself, which we'll get to her in a second. I want to get all these accessories out first. Trying to take care not to accidentally cut the ghillie suit. I'm not even going to bother with the other rubber tabs. It just came right out. Now, I do have a ghillie suit, and I did do a review on it that came from Gridiron Studios, and I think that one's going to be a little more realistic than this one, but hopefully it'll still be pretty cool. You can see it's like almost kind of a shiny quality to it, but it's like a faux fur kind of thing. It looks like it's just kind of a thing that slips over the figure, but we'll get to that in a second. All in due time. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So I'm going to go and pull the figure out right now, but we're going to talk about her in a minute. I just want to look her over, and I don't see an ammo for that gun anywhere. She's got an Uzi, and this looks like to be the same Uzi that we see a lot with Snake Eyes, but again, it's an olive green rather than black. All of her accessories seem to favor olive green. And they put the suppressor on the pistol, which means unfortunately it got a little bent up. They probably should have packed that separately. So I'm going to wind up pulling all that apart anyway. Oh, scope came off the rifle. That's okay. Obviously, we can pop it back on. Rifle does seem to be slightly warped. I don't know if you can see that, but the scope just kind of fits into the little slot at the top. So cool little sniper rifle. Should fit right in the rifle case. Let's open up the rifle case. And you can see it's got space inside for the rifle and the bipod and the scope and the suppressor. And we got another suppressor here. So there's two suppressors. I might miss it. I don't see it. Is it behind the backpack? I don't know what they did with it. Don't tell me they didn't give me an ammo clip for this I really like this submachine gun too, and I'm going to be very disappointed if it doesn't have an ammo clip. So here's the backpack. Big, huge backpack. It's got a little peg on there that should hold the rifle case, whatever I did. Where did I put that? I just had that. And then last but not least, she's got like a big ass knife. Let's see if we can get that out. There it is. I found it. I found the rifle case. Big knife. All right. So let's talk about some of these accessories. So we got this rifle case, and the rifle case has a little hole on it. And this peg should, in theory, hold, but it doesn't seem to want to go on there very well. Or maybe that's just to put, you could put the rifle itself on there, I think, through the peg hole. But obviously you're supposed to put it in the rifle case. Now the rifle case has, maybe you should just put it's got a backpack hole in the, maybe that's how you should put it together. I don't know. It seems to me like I should know this because it's the same one that came with Low Light before. Of course, Low Light came with ammo for his submachine gun. And if you look at the bubble, it doesn't look like it even would fit in there. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Unless it just fell out. Maybe it does and it fell out. But I didn't notice anything falling out. Man, that's annoying. Oh well. And it's not like you can spend $30 to just buy another one. It was like however much it was. Anyway. So let's go ahead and before we do anything else, go over the figure. Because I'm going to want to talk about the articulation before I talk about how the gear all fits together. So we might as well get this out of the way first. All right, so she's got two different heads. I guess I could buy another one, but then I would still be stuck with one without the ammo. I don't know. That's just kind of vexing. I don't know where it could have gone. Because I didn't hear anything come clattering out. And there wasn't like a loose piece like rustling around in there. I'm just going to be obsessive over this thing, aren't I? That's annoying. Okay, well, let's just talk about the figure then. All right. So she's got two different heads. She's got this more sort of Caucasian head, and she's got this darker skinned head. Now this one, it doesn't necessarily appear to be like any specific ethnic group. So I guess you could just pretend she's whatever you want her to be. She could be like, a black lady or a Hispanic, Latina, Middle Eastern, whatever. Any kind of mix of any of those, I suppose. So I kind of like the ethnic ambiguity of it. At first, I thought this was when I first saw the figure and didn't see what it was called. I thought it was another variation on Shooter, Jodie Shooter Craig, but it doesn't look like Rosario Dawson like that figure looks like. She looks like a different person. So here she is with the Geely suit. It's pretty cool. It's not quite as good, like I said, as the one that I got from Gridiron Studios, but that was more of a boutique item that they put a little bit of like they put a little bit more care into it, I think, than Hasbro did. Where obviously, just by the very nature of the thing, Hasbro's is just kind of like mass produced, as opposed to like something that they have to like hand make, which I figure that Geely suit that Gridiron made was. So she's got this sniper rifle. We're gonna go ahead and have her with a sniper rifle first, because then I'm gonna want to put it all into the case. So we can get her into a good rifle holding pose. And then I'll go ahead and put the scope and the suppressor on there. So there she is with that. Pretty cool. And go ahead and put the scope back on there and make sure it's facing the right way. I almost put it on there backwards. Just wasn't paying attention. There we go. I think that's the right way. And let's see, was there something else? Is that everything? That's everything. Oh yeah, the suppressor. So you gotta put that suppressor on there. It's got a little hole in the barrel, a little peg on the suppressor, and it seems like it's a tight fit. So I don't want to force it too much, but there she is with the suppressor. And I wanted to go ahead and get a shot of her with the rifle and everything, because we're going to go ahead and disassemble it and put it into the rifle sheath. So here we go. Like I pointed out, there's little slots for everything in here, so you can disassemble the thing completely and fit everything in there. First, this tiny little bipod, that's going in there, and then this scope, that's going in there. There we go. And suppressor, get that out of there. And it's even got like a little slot for the peg. They thought of everything. And then last but not least, the rifle itself. And you can see that they did a nice job with this, actually molding it in two different colors of plastic. So the liner of it is this brown plastic, and the exterior of it is this olive drab. And it doesn't quite want to close all the way on this end, unfortunately. This end shut nice, but this end is still kind of wanting to stay open. So then we can go ahead and put that onto put the backpack onto that, and put that onto the backpack. I think that peg was supposed to hold the submachine gun, which since I'm not going to use it with her because I don't have the ammo now. There's what that looks like. All right, so let's go ahead and go over some of this little stuff here. We got the rangefinder, and that's going to fit in this little slot right here. Shasha, that's how that goes. And then we've got the pistol with its suppressor. And I don't see a separate loop for the suppressor to go in like we often see. So I guess you're supposed to just put the whole thing in there, but it seems like a tight fit to try to force that suppressor through. So instead, I'm just going to take it off and put the pistol in there and put the suppressor back on afterwards. I think that'll probably be the easiest way to do that. And that seems like I'd bang up against her knee, something awful. So I don't know if she would really want to have it like that. And then we got this knife, and I have no idea where this knife's supposed to go because I don't see a knife sheath for her anywhere. But there should be some place to put this knife. She's got a little pouch over here with a radio sculpted into it, and she's got some other ammo type pouches, and looks like the wire from the radio, and another little ammo clip up here, probably for a pistol. But I don't see anywhere to put this knife. That's kind of frustrating. Well, let's get a picture of her holding the knife anyway, so we can at least get that. So there we go. Looks pretty cool. And now I'm gonna swap her identity out because that's what this is made to do. So the figure's head actually attaches at the neck, at the base of the neck, because she does have two different necks attached to the different heads. So we can pop this ginger head on here and see what that looks like. And this is the one with the boonie hat sculpted onto it. And like I said, I did think at first that this was another figure of Shooter, but it's actually not. But if you did miss out on that Night Force Shooter that was a Walmart exclusive, you can pick this one up and pretend it's Shooter. And this redhead, well, you can pretend like she's some other G.I. Joe if you want. You can make up a character for her, or it could just be Scarlet, any more grounded type of uniform. It would be a pretty cool idea if they took this one and this body, which is mostly a new body. It's got the legs from the first Scarlet, I think, but most of the rest of it looks like it's the same. Just everything from the waist up looks new. Everything from the waist down looks like it came from that first classified Scarlet figure. And then she's got this Uzi, so we can get a look at her with that. So that's pretty cool. The Few, the Proud. And then, as I pointed out, this is a separate piece here for the hair. So you can take off the hat and the hair and be mindful of this this string. If you did want to pretend like this was Scarlet, she does have the red hair, but you could pretend like she's wearing this hat because she wants to match with Snake Eyes. She likes to wear boonie hats. So there is an alternate hat with the ponytail sticking out of it and some sunglasses molded onto it and some little earphones. So we can put that on there. And again, that you can almost imagine that as being like a more tactical version of Scarlet. If you wanted something that was a little more realistic military look for our girl, that could be a way to do that. Or you could probably just take the head off of any of the other classified Scarlet figures and stick it on there, and it would probably work pretty well. So I will say this: I do have a disappointment with this figure in the lack of storage for some of the accessories. There's no place that I can see to put this knife, and there's no place that I can see to put the suppressor for the pistol. And I don't feel comfortable leaving it on there because, for one thing, realistically, it doesn't seem like the sort of thing that would be very comfortable for her to put on and run around. By the way, her hair kind of bumps into this thing when you put it on her back. So I wouldn't recommend using this head with the backpack. Or this hair, at least. You could probably use the boonie hat head, it'd probably be fine. And certainly the darker skinned head would work better. But she's a pretty cool looking figure. Just the flaws with this one have to do with storage for the accessories. And I kind of feel like they could have done a way better job with the storage for the accessories. That I can't find a place to put this knife. Wait a minute. I think I found it. I think I might have found it. No, I think that's just a spot. I got it, and then her gun fell out of her holster, so she can't even hold on to her gun very well. Hasbro, you disappointed me this time. We were going so well, and this was such a nice looking figure, and it's just little things like that. This Death of a Thousand Cuts. This is still a cool figure. It's worth picking up, but I have to recommend it with the caveats that you got to know that the storage for the accessories is not so great on this figure. The pistol didn't stay in the holster very well, and I dropped it. And it just fell out with no provocation from me whatsoever. That's very disappointing. There's no place to put the knife. There's no place to put the suppressor for the pistol. And if there even was an ammo clip for that submachine gun, it fell out at some point. So it wasn't in the gun very well. It probably should have been packed separately. So I have to admit, a little bit disappointed in this figure. But there's still a lot to recommend it, and I would still recommend picking it up. So even though there's not enough storage for all the accessories, there's still like good accessories at least. So let's go ahead and talk about our articulation. And I'm going to go ahead and put her back to the darker skin version, because that's the one I want to take the thumbnail pictures with, since I kind of feel like that head's a little more distinct, has a little more character. I mean, she's got that cool headband and the camo makeup. And like I said, if you weren't able to get a shooter figure before, here's your shooter figure. So that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and put the Uzi on there. Now, I suppose also this suppressor for the pistol, it will fit onto the Uzi. So at least that'll keep me from losing that. So yeah, there she is with the Uzi and the darker skinned head, in case you wonder what that looked like. Here's that anti-piracy logo I was talking about. Let's go ahead and talk about articulation. So our Action Marine can look up about that far. She can look down about that far. I think I actually pulled it a little bit further because I pulled the neck off of the peg a little bit. And of course, her arms rotate all the way around at the torso, at the shoulder. Head rotates all the way around, can tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side. She can move her head around whichever way you want. She does have a little bit of a butterfly joint, so her arms move back about that far, move forward about that far. She does, I believe, have an ab crunch underneath this web gear. That's just kind of hard to see and a little hard to manipulate, but it's there. Of course, she rotates all the way around the waist, and the waist can wobble around whichever way you want. Again, very similar to a 1980s G.I. Joe, only it's with a ball and socket instead of an O-ring. Our Action Marine can kick up about that far, pretty good range of motion. We know these legs from Scarlet, so we're used to them. She does have the thigh cut, thigh swivels all the way around. She does have double jointed knees, bend about that far. She's got a boot cut that rotates all the way around, and she's got cool rocker ankles that point down about that far, point up about that far, and then those rotate all the way around. So there we go. The Action Marine is a pretty cool action figure that unfortunately has subpar storage for all the really cool accessories that she comes with. Now, if that's not a big deal to you, then I think that's not going to be a deal breaker for most people. They're probably still going to want this figure, but it is a slight disappointment for me, and I'd be lying if I said otherwise. You know, I do try to call out the good and the bad with these figures when I see them, and this one, it's still a good figure, but it's not quite as good as it could be if these problems had been corrected at the outset. Now, I probably am going to buy a second one of these, maybe even a third one, because I do really like this redhead with the ponytail. The boonie hat's pretty cool too, but I like the redhead even better. That might actually be my favorite head out of the set, just because, again, I can kind of pretend like it's a more tactical version of Scarlet. And you know I love Scarlet, so I gotta represent my girl. But I kind of feel like, as far as maybe it's just because this is the head that came on the figure, but I do kind of feel like this one is the one that's more intended to be like the default head. And honestly, I think it would be cool. And since the features on this are kind of, they're not really like specifically ethnic enough features that, you know, it would have to be any kind of ethnic group necessarily. You could recolor this as a Caucasian head. Hell, you could recolor this as the darker, like swap the colors and have a raven-haired, deep tan skin color head with the ponytail and the cap and the glasses, and have the bandana head on, like, I don't know, like a pale blonde chick or something. You could do whatever with these. I think they'd be fine. But yeah, the ghillie suit is a nice touch. I don't know if I talked a whole lot about that yet. We talked a little bit about it, but I'll discuss it a little bit more. Like I said, not quite as cool as the ghillie suit that came with the Gridiron Studios set that I had, but it's still pretty cool. I bet you could still do some good stuff with it. It might even fit on a male figure better than this female figure, because there is a little too much room here at the head, and if you wanted to, you could probably put some double-sided tape on there and stick it a little closer to the head if you wanted to, or just pretend like she's got some kind of helmet on under there. But like I said, this seems to me like something that's just kind of stamped out at the factory, and while they did do a pretty decent job with it, and it's nice to have, I'm not trying to complain about it. I am saying that if you want like if you did get this and you're a little underwhelmed by it, that Gridiron Studios ghillie suit is going to scratch that itch. So I'd highly recommend picking that up. If you're content with this, then good, because it's not bad. You know, I'm just spoiled by my Gridiron Studios ghillie suit. I'm just saying. Maybe I'll buy an extra one of those for this Action Marine and call her Shooter. So one other thing that might have made this better is if instead of just having the two sets of hair interchangeable with this, if they had have had like or interchangeable with this head, if they had had some other hair interchangeable with this one, and maybe some hats or helmets or something that could fit on her. But as we say on Earth, c'est la vie. I'm not trying to be negative about this figure because I do actually really like this figure, but I can't help but notice things that could have made this figure better, and I am going to point them out. I do really like the Under Armour type shirt, and like I said, I'm pretty sure that's new. I haven't seen that before anyway, and I do kind of feel like you know, they probably could reuse these parts and do a little bit more of a tactical style of Scarlet, or maybe even give us a Scarlet that matches up with the G.I. Joe Renegades look. I think that would probably look really good using this figure as a base. So anyway, we got one more figure to cover tomorrow. I believe today is Friday. Yes, today is Friday. Tomorrow is Saturday. So I'm going to have one more figure for you to open up on Saturday. That is my plan. If I miss it, I'll have it for you sometime next week. But I want to try to get through all these this week. And we got the G.I. Joe Action Pilot, the Halo High Altitude Low Opening Jumper. So we'll go ahead and open him up tomorrow, time permitting. And then next week I'll get on to some of the massive amount of McFarlane DC stuff that I still have. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the Action Marine. And am I being too hard on her? Am I being too easy on her? Am I being the exact right amount of critical with this figure? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And if she's a figure that you enjoyed or that you were highly disappointed by, let me know that as well. I want to hear your opinions on this figure. Like I said, I think she's pretty good, but she could have been a lot better. This figure is like a 7 or an 8, and it should have been a 10 easily. And all it would have taken would be a little more storage for the accessories. That's really the thing that I think is the downside of this figure. And I think this is probably going to be like my default setting for this figure from now on, with the Uzi and the knife. And I'll just have her hold the knife since there's no place for her to store it. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.